hundreds toured the ABC building here in East Perth today.
So the building is organised with the big studios down the bottom, radio and news in the middle, and then we've got Radio National, as we've just rented out the top floor to Screenwest and West TV. So that's better than sitting up, right? Come through.
Okay.
Hey. Right, come right in, come right in. So this is Studio 620, which is our music recording studio. And we've actually recorded Hollywood soundtracks from this studio with the Wazzo. Concerts with various people. We had a countdown concert once, that was good fun. And this sign is the last remaining original countdown sign in Australia, and it's ours. And we nearly left it at the old building. You can take photographs. In fact, we'd like you to do one of these. And Hillary, who works on our breakfast program, is here to take your photo if you would like to, in front of the sign.
If you want to be involved, it's very easy. You just need to stand in the middle here and just think of a simple action. You can do a star jump, or you can do a worm, or whatever you like. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Ooh, don't drop that. So you will notice at the ABC that we name things a little bit crazily. This is a scenery runway, otherwise known as General Store.
Same thing every 4 years, right?
Okay, so this is a soundstage. It can be used for feature films or making television or office Christmas parties. So we have had several feature films filmed in here. One of the more recent ones was Blue Dog, which is the sequel to Red Dog. Has anyone seen Red Dog? Yeah. So Blue Dog, what they did was they made the station farmhouse. They replicated it in here on that end of the building. And when you walked inside it, it felt like a house. It was amazing. To the grime on the wall near the switch, it was absolutely pristine. And the other thing they did was make a Pilbara sort of gorge cave. And I could tell it was fake, right? I could see the scaffolding. I walked up the metal ladder. I stood inside that. It felt like a Pilbara cave. It was amazing. And now it's somebody's pool feature. But it was fantastic. So think about that. If you go and see Blue Dog, parts of it will feel right here where you're standing. So we have now new tenants in our building. We've got West TV, a community television station, and we've also got Screenwest. And so we've kind of got this hub of creativity now in East Perth, which is really exciting for us because I just love all the new energy that is brought into the building. And they will be using this space as well to create television and films, feature films. We've got 92 battens above us. Create some battens. A batten is the thing that the lights are hanging on.
Pipes is another word.
And John Rapsey is from West TV. Do you want to say a few words, John?
Sure. So I'm John Rapsey. I'm the chair of the board of WTV, which is, you probably know, a community television station. And what we're up to at the moment is moving to an online platform, which already exists. So what it means is, yes, you can watch Channel 44 on your television set, but you can also, by downloading the WTV app, you can watch it on your phone, on a tablet, or you can watch our programming on a computer.
You've got iView and they've got Your View.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing.
It is the same kind of thing. And Your View is built by exactly the same company that built iView.
There you go.
So they're similar in nature. If you go to our website, which is
www.wtvperth.com.au.
What you'll be able to see on that page is Watch Live. So you just click that button and suddenly you're watching what's going to air from WTV.
At WTV, we love showing you something a little different. We'll show you the news that matters.
The latest from Syria.
We'll show you local sports.
Strap in, hold on.
We'll teach you new things.
Exactly what we're looking for.
And we'll try to make you laugh.
Good evening, everyone.
And the best thing is, we do it all right here in Perth.
Coming to Freo today.
That looks awesome. That's because WTV is Perth's only true local station.
And then, like iView, we have a whole set of sections where, at the moment, what we're doing is mainly catch-up things, recent episodes of our programs. We've got a bunch of them. Current affairs program called Undercurrent, which you can watch tonight at
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yep.
I've been on it.
Yeah. And these are stories of local interest, events that happen in Perth. We have another program called Perth City Talks, which is on at
8:30 Wednesdays,
and repeated
5:30 on Saturdays.
5:30. Then we have other shows which some of you may be aware of, like there is a gallery watch show where we go around to various galleries in the Perth area and see the exhibitions, talk to the artists, that sort of thing. There are a couple of painting shows which are incredibly popular.
And I don't want to say what the newest show is because it's the 7 o'clock news bulletin.
And guess who the competition is?
Who is it? What competition?
Hello, I'm Russell Goodrich. Join me Monday to Friday for the Daily News on West TV.
The Daily News with Russell, Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. on West TV.
Yeah, so WTV has recently moved into the ABC building, and as Sarah said, one of the things that's going on here is the creation of a hub of, well, for example, ourselves, Screenwest, which is the film industry support organization, government funding, and they provide funding and various things to the industry. Then as time goes on, I think more and more screen industry related businesses and organizations will move in here, and we will have a very lively place. Lots of different people to talk to, and that generates creative ideas of how to use this space and how we can, my particular thing is, if you watch the commercial stations in Western Australia, I dare you to find local content.
Yeah, right.
You know, you look, you read the entire...
Off your soapbox, young man. That's it. We need to move on because we've got a big tour to do, but thank you very much.
Check your TV guide, read everything.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, still got the opening. Well, we don't use it because it's standard definition, and I don't know whether you guys know, but our main ABC channel is going HD.
HD, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you using it for control room for your news broadcast?
No, but we do rent it out, so we went to telephone.
Channel 7 was saying that for telethon they were using the Melbourne.
Yeah,
ABC
a band came over
band.
from Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah, and this isn't it.
No.
Oh,
No,
Deborah just
no,
told
a
me
band
that.
came over from Melbourne specifically for telephone.
Right.
Yeah. This one wasn't used, no.
So next to that is the tender vehicle, and then the one down the end there, that's our radio OB van, which we last took out to Elizabeth Key for Peter Bell's first outside broadcast on day 3, which is a bit mean now. We can go outside on day 3.
It's happening, isn't it?
What John's done here, he's set up his camera into that truck. That is transmitting to a central part receiver. And then direct link back to here. We've switched it out on fibre to Sydney. So Sydney put it up on the satellite. We're using the satellite as a receiver, and that's what you're seeing here. So if I clap, you can see there's about a 1.5 second delay.
Anyone else want to have a go?
Yeah, look, there's where you were hiding. Come on, you can do it.
Come right in so we can get everyone in. So this is the Wally Foreman studio, our main studio for 720 ABC Perth. It's where all our programs, breakfast, mornings with Jeff, afternoons, and Drive with Jane Marwick happen.
So my job as a producer is to help Jane manage the show. So that involves us kind of planning the day before. We get in early and we sit over there and we work out what we're going to put to air. And then once we're in here, this is where we help her control what goes to air. So we might pick up the phone and put people on hold. We've got ways of communicating with Jane because of that. So this screen here lets us write a message to her. So I can say, I've written hello Jane. So I can write whatever I want and write hello Jane again. And you can see that it's popping up on all those screens, so we can all see the same thing. And Jane has exactly the same screen in there. So it means that everyone has the ability to write messages and put information on screen. We also can communicate with Jane by talking to her. So there's a button here and I can say hello, and that connects straight in, and she'll be able to hear us on the headphones, and she can hit a button and talk back to us, so we can communicate that way while a track is on, or even during an interview if something really important is happening. And then obviously our job is to get the talent up, and there's lots of ways we can do that. We can have people who we interview on the phone, or there's what we call TARDISes all around the country, and they're basically little studios in different places, and via satellites and internet connections we can talk directly to people, so it sounds like they're joining Jane live in the studio. And obviously those speakers are playing now what Jane's playing in there, so we can hear the whole time what's going on there. Another big part of our job is text messages. So there's a system here that every time anyone sends in a text message, it pops up here. We filter through them and put them up on screen so Jane can read your message out to people. There's sometimes hundreds coming through a show. So if you text in and you wonder why it didn't get up, it's that maybe there was 300 other people who sent in a text message at the same time. The other big part of our job now is social media, because we're not really just a radio station anymore. We're doing things like Twitter and Facebook all the time to sort of allow people to connect with the show that we're producing. And at the same time, when we're in here, we're just monitoring what's happening in the world. So we've got News 24 and CNN on all the time in case something's breaking, and then we're reading our emails and doing all that sort of stuff to make sure that, especially in a drive show, that we're dealing with breaking news as it comes to hand, we're getting the traffic reports, we're getting the weather up, all those sort of things. Does anybody have any questions?
Tell them about the dump button.
Oh, the dump button. which I've never had to use. There's a button here called dump, and what it does is basically when there's little gaps, silence in the air, it stores up 10 seconds of. It stretches out the program so that there's an extra 10 seconds there. And what it allows us to do is in the situation that someone says something really offensive or maybe slanders someone, we hit dump and then 10 seconds disappears and we just resume normal programming as though maybe we'll apologise because you can never be sure. The problem is it's very difficult for the presenter to know what exactly has been dumped. So it's like a break in transmission. It's a firewall against someone, you know.
That's censorship.
Yeah. No, it's not really censorship because we can't let people swear on the air and we can't let people defame people on the air. Yeah. Well, and I've never seen it. I've never seen it used. I've never felt the need to dump someone.
Jane has though.
Yeah, Jane has dumped one person, and that person said something that was probably a little bit. They said something that could be considered slanderous. They said something that had no, you know, we didn't know if it was fact or fiction, and they just declared it on air. And I guess it's a decision that you have to make. You're right, that maybe you could be considered censorship, but we also can't be, as a publisher, just letting people have their free reign on whatever they may want to say.
It's electronic, isn't it? So that's it.
Yeah, it is. It's a safety mechanism, and as I said, I've never seen it used, so it obviously is pretty rare. And I think the thing is that in the past there might have been more of an instinct with every small swear word to dump, but as times have changed, there's certain words that would still definitely dump. But there's lots of words that, as long as it's not said maliciously, you know.
So let me tell you a little story about Liam Bartlett. About 12 years ago in the old building, when we only had 7 seconds delay, he was talking about abuse in the classrooms, and this teacher rang up. She was a retired teacher, and she sounded very reasonable. And she said, "Well, Liam, I hope you've got your dump button ready, because this young man called me a bleep, 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 bleep." He wasn't in delay. And it went to air. And all of us upstairs, we were like, did that go to air? Oh my goodness. And then we had all these callers ring up and say, you know, good on her, because that's what they do say to teachers, and you know, yeah. So it was pretty amazing. But that is an example where we would have dumped if we had delay on.
Did I show you the space age desks that we've got at the ABC? It's wonderful. Yeah. It's the future. It's like the Starship Enterprise right here. You can go from standing to sitting in a matter of seconds.
Do you have generator backup power here?
Yep. So we can survive for 48 hours.
Yeah.
Wow. So if the power...
Or until petrol runs out.
Oh, the diesel runs out. That's we could keep going if we keep filling it with diesel.
Yeah, possibly.
That's if it starts up in the first place.
No, but they test it all the time. We're always at our desk, always being told, be ready at 11 o'clock. They're going to test the generator, make sure your computer's packed into the...
But you're absolutely right. They tested it in Karratha recently, and it didn't come up. So that was a bit of a disaster.
Well, one of the ABC News very recently...
Yes.
Had to come from Sydney.
Yes, because there was power outage here.
Yep, I remember that,
yeah. I've been in a situation when I was working in Darwin where they had a power outage that lasted longer than 48 hours, and it also caused all the systems to crash, and there was no power for like 3 days, so we had to present from Alice Springs, where I was, read the news for like hour upon hour with only 2 journos. So.
And actually the studio's flooded in Melbourne under their new project, and they had to come over here and present the news from here. Yeah.
What is Melbourne over here?
Yeah. Anthony, you need to go and grab your group so that we can get into the studio. Does anyone else have any questions?
So how many people do you have working here at one time?
Well, it depends on the program.
Yeah.
So there's 2 producers on breakfast.
Right.
There's 3 on drive and mornings.
Right.
And Brad produces on his own in afternoons.
That's the wild one.
Yeah. Slim but savage one. The slim but savage one. Although we're calling him Snake Hips Savage because he does a pretty mean moonwalk.
He reads the news all right. The weather all right.
Yeah, he's doing all right, isn't he? Yeah. No, it's good to hear him on the air. Good to hear him.
If you're touching this desk, just stand back for a tick. I'll show you what it can do. It's a standing desk, but if somebody comes in and they need to sit, like Deborah Conway on Friday had hurt her foot, so I could lower it for her. I sort of stood like that, and she sat down. But I stand, when I first joined the ABC, I found standing for 3 hours tricky. Now we have standing desks over there as well. I wouldn't be without it. I stand all day. I've gone from fancy shoes to very sensible shoes, but that's okay because it's so good. We can move around. This is our headset. This is our microphone. I can move around. I can tell you what sort of a day it is by looking out. So I put in here what's called our cart stack that I've loaded beforehand. Now in commercial radio, someone does all this for you. The ABC, you do it yourself, so you know you might hit the traffic.
7:20 traffic.
So those things are there. The songs are in here on Friday. Jess Strutt, this was her song was where is it? Well, anyway, Down Under. About Fremantle. Yeah. And there are interviews. Sometimes I have to pre-record an interview because it's the Eastern States or timing, so I might do it earlier in the day. My favourite one was the 10-year-old girl who has leukemia, who's developed. That interview. I'm going to play it again on Monday because so many people have said. She was 10. She's just won a prize to go to NASA because she developed a Band-Aid dispenser. She was seeing her parents and her nursing staff struggling when she was having her treatment, struggling with the Band-Aids. So I was lucky enough to interview Bridget.
Well, I have invented a Band-Aid dispenser, which is sort of like a sticky tape dispenser, but it dispenses Band-Aids. And I won Origin Energy's Little Big Ideas competition, which is an inventors competition, and I entered my Band-Aid dispenser, and I won a trip to NASA in America.
To NASA in America. Now we'll get on to your terrific invention in just a moment. A lot of people listening this afternoon will dream of Disneyland, but I think that NASA might be top of your list. Would I be right?
Yeah.
She was the most beautiful kid. I rang her, she answered the phone on the dot. I pre-arranged to ring her at 3 o'clock when she finished school, and you know, straight away, hello, Bridget speaking. Oh, hello, Bridget, it's Jane at the ABC. Oh, thank you for calling. She's 10. And she's sick. She's still got leukemia. Right? So she doesn't get to go on that trip until she's better. So that's the privilege of the job, to be able to speak to people like that. That's the real privilege of the job.